All right, what did we learn yesterday from going to Hagrid's Motorcycle Adventure?
We learned that you have to be quick and be used to using the lockers and have an idea with it, so then you can just go bam, bam.
Indiana has nailed it. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. Thanks to the power of editing, in yesterday's episode when we were first in line to get into Universal Studios Islands of Adventure, it all looked pretty smooth between entering the park and boarding Hagrid's Magical Motorcycle Adventure. The truth is, for all our planning, there was something we weren't prepared for. The lockers. The lockers. We'd never been to Universal Florida and had zero idea how their locker system worked, which couldn't have been more obvious as hundreds of people streamed past us onto our first ever ride in the park.
One time use. How do you use it?
So, in this episode, we are running it back after getting up in the darkness, grabbing our Starbucks brekkie and getting a spot at the front of the queue again.
Okay, we've got out of here. We need to get to this ride. Everyone's heading there.
Now all that's left is to bang our stuff into a locker before sliding into the Hagrid's queue like a well-oiled machine. At least that's the idea.
You're done.
Well done. All right.
Guys, look fast.
That was the quick version, apparently. Somehow, we still took forever. This guy's doing a speed walk. I thought he was serious, but he's actually stopped. I think he was showing off with his speed walking skills in front of his kids. For all our YouTube video research back in Australia, we hadn't come across the how to use the Islands of Adventure lockers instructional video, and I guess that's because US theme park vloggers know to travel light. Well, lighter than us at least anyway. These videos do exist, by the way, which we discovered after our little day one snafu. So if you're a first-time Universal rope dropper and you have more stuff than you can shove in your pockets, do yourself a massive favour and check a couple of those out before you're completely freaking out with no idea what you're doing, as literally hundreds of other people are beating you to the queue you thought you were about to be one of the first to. Let's see if we can get the locker sorted fast. Let's go. Here we go, the moment of truth. The heart rate is up. What you can't plan for are the number of other people in this area trying to access lockers. I'm most familiar with the one we used yesterday, which is in the far left corner, and I want to go with what I know. I know there's one clear. I keep looking. Is the other guy going to get out there? He does. Beautiful. Let's scan my pass. Bang. All right, now we need to swipe the card, get it in there, and we're looking good. Now we have to wait until it allocates us a locker number. The door automatically opens and we are ready to go. My family abandons me and starts heading into the queue while the GoPro stick goes in, the bag over the shoulder, in, and this is record time for us, which is a whole lot quicker than yesterday, and we are going to Hagrid's. And I know that seems really easy looking at it now, but I didn't have to read the instructions today. 24 hours ago, just the feeling and pressure of reading instructions on how to operate anything while hundreds of people stream past that you'd actually beaten to the front of your queue only compounds the pressure, and it was an awful feeling. So like anything, it's easy when you know how. If you saw yesterday's episode that's playing in the corner here, you'll know we've already explored the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal's Islands of Adventure Park, but the early entry we have today doesn't apply to the Universal Florida Park next door. We'll head to that when it opens in an hour. So if you'd like to see our full experiences on board Hagrid's Magical Motorbike Adventure, Flight of the Hippogriff, as well as Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, it's all there in that episode. But there are no complaints from us, with very, very few guests for an hour redo of one of the greatest theme parks in the world. So you know what? The good thing about the early access, there's not very many people here.
Oh yeah.
And we've been here for 40 minutes, and the wait time on Hagrid's Motorcycle Adventure is already an hour and a half. But nobody here. Sorry mate, I'm just doing a funny move. That's the problem with vlogging in a crowd. Even though I said there's nobody here, there was still enough people here for me to get in someone's way. Early entry or not, there are a few more satisfying feelings than walking through queue areas clearly set up for about 1 billion people. Sure, you sacrifice sleeping in for the privilege, but we didn't fly halfway around the world to sleep. By the way, this visit was just before Universal opened their neighbouring third park called Epic Universe, which we can't wait to visit one day, but we'll need to allow even more time for, which will be the greatest dilemma ever. And now, it's time to explore Universal Studios Florida, which we could absolutely begin by going through the main entrance at the front, but why do that when we can board the Hogwarts Express departing Islands of Adventure's Hogsmeade station for a leisurely trip through the English countryside?
F, as in Forbidden Forest. Welcome to cabin F.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
That seemed to have a lot more going on than I expected. Before arriving at Universal Studios Florida's King's Cross station, where we discover Diagon Alley. Quick dad tip, after we left, I discovered that the Hogwarts Express ride experience is different depending on which park you depart from, so we didn't get to see the journey that departed King's Cross, which is just another reason we have to go back now.
Let's go see it. It looks a lot smaller on camera.
That's a super smart observation from Connor Lane. It does look a lot smaller on camera. It's difficult to capture the sheer scale of Diagon Alley on the screen here. It's just so massive, which may make the level of detail even more impressive, from a 3-story tall hat-tipping Weasley brother to a joke shop window puking pastels promo figure. The Universal creative team haven't missed a thing. I honestly think you could have another 100 visits and spot something you hadn't seen the last time. But the first thing the girls spotted all the way at the other end of Diagon Alley, perched on top of Gringotts Wizarding Bank, was another whole level of awesome. A giant Ukrainian iron-bellied dragon that, you guessed it, breathes fire. One of the coolest parts about the dragon was that moments before he breathed fire, he would growl. And no matter what they were doing, virtually everyone stopped. The whole place went silent. And then... and this is all happening, and we've just walked in. We haven't actually been on a ride here yet. So once we've managed to drag ourselves away from about 1,000 different distractions beneath the dragon, who gave us one last fire show before we went inside, is Harry Potter and the escape from Gringotts. Now, to be clear, we'll never complain about a queue being too short. But if there were ever a time I could have used just a few extra moments in a line, it was here in the lobby of Gringotts Wizarding Bank, where Goblin employees are busy doing bank workery type things, and Bodrod gives us clearance
For your first visit to the vaults.
to go down to the bank's vaults. On the way down, we stop at Bill Weasley's office
Been clear off now. My patients have run on tape.
before finding ourselves at the entrance to the elevator that'll take us down 9 miles.
This is a humongous elevator. Like, this is almost the size of our room.
I reckon it's even bigger than the girls' room. And not only is it big, it also feels like it could malfunction and plummet the remaining miles left down to the vault, killing us all. Fortunately, none of that happens, and we arrive somewhere near the centre of the Earth safely. It's about 9 miles to the centre of the Earth, isn't it?
When you exit the lift, be sure to pick up a pair of safety goggles to be worn at all times during your ride.
As we can't film on this ride, Universal's ride guides can give us a sense of the experience, but to be honest, I can't think of another ride that makes less sense on video than Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, which has nothing to do with the ride and everything to do with how unique it is. It's a cross between a roller coaster and the Spider-Man ride from last episode, with all the giant sets, physical effects, 3D projections, and motion-based vehicles, except this time they're attached to a coaster track. Absolutely insane, absolutely awesome, and absolutely impossible to really describe without just getting on it.
Woo! It was scary, but it was really good. I loved it. It was really fun. It was scary at the start when there was the drop, because the darkness made it look like it was steep, but it was actually really small and really fun.
12 seconds later.
We're in Diagon Alley. Hold on, I'm going to show you something. There's a dragon over there. I'm not sure if you can see it, but we're just about to leave Diagon Alley, another Harry Potter land. Let's go to Simpsons.
This way, bub. We're going to do Men in Black first.
Wait, what? What is this?
Men in Black. You guys said I would like it.
What is Men in Black?
Let's find out. Alien Attack. When you're born in 2016, heading to a ride based on a film from 1997, what is this is more than a fair question. And to be honest, I don't know a lot about it, other than it seems to hold a lot of nostalgic value to a lot of Americans who started riding it when they were kids in the early 2000s. And while this may not be the newest ride at Universal, I'd swear that animatronic alien is looking directly at us. 90s technology getting it done. Turns out Men in Black Alien Attack is one of those laser shooter dark rides. I've always loved these because of the scale of these indoor cities that are built for you to drive through while shooting hundreds of animatronic characters popping out of windows and from behind stuff. In this case, all while Will Smith is shouting stuff at you in character as Agent J. It's no escape from Gringotts, but without these OG rides, there's no Wizarding World of Harry Potter today.
I save the galaxy. It's what I do.
25 years on, Men in Black Alien Attack still delivers. It's Krusty Land. Let's go. If there's one thing Universal and Disney have nailed with their theme parks, it's the feeling you're entering the world of your favourite film or TV franchise. And so, as a massive Simpsons fan, the Simpsons ride is the stuff dreams are made of. In fact, it's more than just a ride. It exists within Universal Studios' Springfield area, which plays home to a bunch of the show's most iconic stores and landmarks. The giant Lard Lad donut statues there, of course. You can grab a squishy at the Quickie Mart, a beer at Moe's Tavern, and you better believe we had lunch at Krusty Burger. Which explains how Krusty's able to get away with this.
You've got to stop blowing your money like this, Krusty.
No can do.
Anyway, the ride. Walking through the mouth of a 32-foot Krusty the Clown head, awesome. And we haven't even done anything yet. In the pre-show, you're surrounded by some of the Springfield residents running game stalls and concession stands in a sideshow alley. Americans, our sideshow alley is your Midway. They're exactly the same, except with two names that are the most unrelated things in the world. Krusty appears to warn us about Sideshow Bob, who's escaped from the Springfield Penitentiary. Again.
He is rumored to be in the vicinity of this park, but rest assured, my Cracker Jack security team has everything under control.
I'm sorry, does anyone know which end the bullet goes in?
Which is clearly cause for concern, but not enough to stop us wanting to get on the ride.
Now, which lucky family will be the first to go on my thrilling new ride? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Make it quick, I gotta go to the little clown's room, so the family that will see my show is the one who hollers, go! Fine, you're in. Come with me. Oh, and you can pick one other group to come with you.
How about these guys?
Sure, whatever. They look clean. You guys come with me. You stay here and wait for someone to tell you to do something.
Now, this ride is a motion simulator of a roller coaster, so because it's not an actual roller coaster, you can be launched off the tracks dropped into rivers running through caves that are absolutely nothing like Pirates of the Caribbean, get caught by Dr. Frank before plunging into the pits of hell and subsequently dragged through downtown Springfield and get launched into the Simpsons lounge room. Before dropping back onto the tracks. I know it's all a simulation, and I know there's a hydraulic thingamajig underneath us moving our ride vehicle around in complete synchronicity with the action wrapping around us, but in the moment, I 100% felt like we were falling here. The same thing happened when my wife and I rode it our first and only other time back in 2012 at Universal Studios in California. And so it's not like I shouldn't have seen it coming. But from that day, it was one of my most memorable rides, and I never got it out of my head. So this was amazing for two reasons. First, it was still as amazing as I remembered. And second, this time, we got to share it with the girls.
Maggie, the baby, turned giant, and she was using us as a pacifier, and it was disgusting. She spat us out. I thought it was amazing. Now we're heading to Transformers.
At least that was the plan. The thing with Universal Studios Florida is that unless you're literally standing in the queue for Transformers, you're gonna encounter another 1,000 things on your way, which is exactly what happened. We stumbled across E.T. Adventure. You can't walk past E.T. Adventure. It's the last remaining ride from the park's grand opening in 1990. So in addition to the nostalgic connection I obviously have with the film and going to see E.T. in the cinema in 1982, this ride itself is full of nostalgia for generations of Americans who've ridden it from when they were kids till now, when, like me, they're big kids. Anyway, let's get to the Transformers ride. Right after we stop to see Shrek and Donkey. We're not walking past Shrek and Donkey. All right, we need to focus now, or we're never going to get to the roller coaster. There's a it's a Trolls-themed roller coaster.
The roller coaster is a short, fun ride. It's really, really, really fun and cute. Hey, Cloud Guy!
You bet. Hey, Cloud Guy. Okay, it was important we rode that, so now nothing's standing between us and Transformers. Except for a parade. We're not missing a parade.
Hands up, step in, hearts loud, start again. Glitter on my sneakers, name tag on your chest. We laugh about nothing, you say this might be the best. Paper wristband, color stamp on the back of my hand. You spin in the doorway like catch me if you can. Welcome to the sunshine. Bodies in a bright cascade, falling into one line. Welcome to the love parade. Welcome to the sunshine. Bodies in a bright cascade, falling into one line. Welcome to the love parade. You and all your wild side. We got all this light to waste. Burn it in the daytime. My wrist, count off 3, 2, 1. Jump with me till the sky comes undone. If this is wrong, let it stay this way. Your head on my shoulder at the end of the parade.
Due to technical difficulties, today's Universal Mega Movie Parade has been canceled. We apologize for the inconvenience, but welcome you to enjoy our other attractions and shows throughout Universal Orlando Resort.
One of the floats must have overheated because halfway around they all just stopped, and the characters that were on board all had to climb down and walk the rest of the way, which was not part of the plan when they began the parade, obviously, particularly given on this afternoon that feels like temperature peaked at 99 degrees. So with that in mind, these cast members are fair dinkum legends. They stayed in character all the way back, waving and high-fiving kids, including Indiana. So full parade or not, we still loved every second of it. And by the way, this Marty McFly's mannerisms were 10 out of 10 from the second the Back to the Future float arrived until now. This is exactly what I think Marty McFly would look like if he was on a float that broke down and he had to walk all the way back to the DeLorean. Seriously, Marty McFly masterclass. Shout out to the guys who sculpt these animatronic dinosaurs, by the way, because even though they're not moving because the float's been powered down, they still look like they could launch and attack you in a split second. Is he going to do it? Is he? No, he's not. The Trolls Catabus appeared to be the float that couldn't get back under its own steam. I don't want to blame anyone in particular, unless there's something you'd like to tell us, Cloud Guy.
First, you have to give me a high five, then I'll tell you.
Forget it. The Jaws and Ghostbusters floats were still awesome as well. And they were right next to the Transformers ride. Now, I could tell you a million things about Transformers The Ride 3D, or I could just pop this link in the corner of the screen for you, because during our visit to Universal Singapore, the girls presented this deep dive into how this thing works, which I 1,000,000% recommend you check out.
We went on this building, we went through the building, and then we fell down, and then we hit the ground. At one point, it really felt like a transformer jumped onto our car. Yeah,
this is my favourite ride in the world, and yes, that includes all the coasters and themed experiences everywhere we've been grateful enough to visit. This is the one, my all-time fave. We're essentially caught in a fight between Optimus Prime and Megatron. It's as simple and as awesome as that. Yes, there's a bunch of the other Autobots and Decepticons involved, but we're witnessing firsthand the original battle of good versus evil. As long as you discount anything that ever happened in pop culture history before the 80s, which I do. I've been carrying the childhood trauma of this with me since 86. And so this,
what do we do?
Is personal.
Beg for mercy. Never. No more running recruits. He wants the Oscar? He can have it. Oh no!
Best ride ever. And to save anyone else carrying similar trauma to 86, Optimus Prime is okay.
Your bravery saved the planet. Well done, freedom fighters.
Something really cool is about to happen, and no matter how well organised you are, it's not something you can plan for. It's just old-fashioned luck. If you've watched other episodes of our adventures, you'll know we've been fortunate enough to have visited Ollivander's wand shop a number of times in a number of countries. And you'll also know that luck dictates who is chosen to be part of the Wand Keeper's performance. So Big Sister Connor Lane has been very lucky to have been chosen so many times. But after the first time, the only reason we've kept going back is the hope that little sister Indiana will get the call up. She has not. And so, we're going back for one final try.
Welcome to Ollivander's. What is your name?
Indy.
You're here for your wand. Yes? Step into the light so I may see you more clearly. Excellent.
And just like that, all the times she hadn't been chosen disappeared, as Indiana hung on every word of our wand keeper like she was hearing them for the first time.
No two Ollivander wands are the same, just as no two unicorns, dragons, or phoenixes are quite the same. And of course, you will never get such good results with another wizard's wand. Let's begin.
And so the search for Indiana's wand began, with the wand keeper issuing challenges.
I'd like that you bring it to me by pointing your wand and say, Accio Latef.
Accio Latef.
And issuing more tests.
So, point your wand and say Aguamenti.
Aguamenti.
Until, when all appeared lost, Indy heard that one famous sound.
It is clear to those of us who have studied wand lore that the wand chooses the wizard. Why? I wonder. From the wizard, and the wizard from the wand. Off you go.
Indiana had done it. It took a couple of years, but every good wizard will tell you, in the end, it's the wand that chooses the wizard.
It was amazing. I can't believe it first time. That was awesome.
It's so good.
It was amazing.
Oh, beautiful.
I don't know if it was the early start, the excitement of finally being chosen by the wand keeper.
That was great for my first time ever at Ollivander's.
Or the 99-degree heat, but it was right around now we appreciated having the Hard Rock Hotel a short walk away.
That is the guitar fountain. Oh my god, it's hot.
And with our last day here tomorrow, we have what's called a good problem to have. We have park hopper tickets.
Really cool.
So we can go to Universal's Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida and Universal's water park, Volcano Bay. But can we fit all three into our last day? You better believe we're going to try. In our experience, there are three main elements the best water parks that we've been lucky enough to visit all have in common: a wave pool, a lazy river, and water slides.
Oh my god! Wow. We're not going on that water slide inside the volcano bay, obviously.
Of the parks we've visited, though, the one thing none of them had was a 200-foot tall volcano as their centrepiece. And as impressive as it is from the air, it's most spectacular from in the actual wave pool that it appears to be emerging from. That's a pretty giant volcano behind it.
Yeah.
Which must be the biggest wave pool we have ever been in, which I guess makes sense as a 200-foot volcano is sitting in it.
What do you think that noise means? I think it means the wave pool.
We can all agree that volcanoes are terrifying by virtue of what's inside them. The thing with this one is, it is terrifying, but for a slightly different reason. Inside this volcano is a water slide so steep you have to board it by a trapdoor.
So there's a little tube in the volcano there, and the floor drops down and it goes through that tube, right there. And then you come out over there and it's really fast and scary.
Should we go?
No!
As dads, why do we say crazy stuff like that? Because one day the girls are going to go, yeah, you bet, let's go. And then I'm going to be stuck getting launched through a trapdoor into a 125-foot drop. Luckily, that day isn't today. Today, the girls are most happy with the Copico Y Winding River.
We have 2 cameras. This one isn't on yet, but this one is Indy's, that one's Dad's, and yeah, now we're gonna go on that thing.
What's the river? How do we get into the river?
Down here.
Salt on our skin, hair still wet. Close your eyes, feel the sun on your neck. Still laughing, water on our tongues. Swimming in the glow, summer in our lungs. Same rhythm, 2 heartbeats, 1 drum. Sisters, best friends, dancing in the sun. Same rhythm, even when you're far away. You complete my heart, every night, every day. Every day. Phone light in the dark, your name on the screen. Laughing till we cry, like we're 13. Close my eyes, I'm back on that shore. You breathe in, I breathe in. We're beating like before.
I loved it. It was so fun. And my favorite ride was probably Krakatoa. The one where you go like magnets, where you go down and then it connects to the slide, makes you go up.
Connor Lane's right, the Krakatoa Aqua Coaster was the most mind-blowing experience we've ever had at a water park. It uses a combination of magnet-based technology, like Connor mentioned, water jets, and gravity, of course. Our pontoon surfed down the slide's declines like any other water slide, but then gets shot back up the slide's inclines like a roller coaster. Amazing.
So yeah, that was my favorite ride and it was really fun. So I loved it. We're actually leaving right now to go to the park.
I can get your bus, let's step it out.
We missed the bus, guys.
We made the bus. And yes, it's ambitious, but we have park tickets to a theme park that's open and next door to our hotel. So it's a final night whip around to squeeze in our last visits to attractions we don't know when or if we'll ever be lucky enough to visit again. Hey, while we're walking past Spider-Man, should we jump on?
Yeah, we should.
Guess that wraps things
Thanks for hanging out with us this episode, and thanks to all the Universal cast members who made our visit one we will never, ever forget. If you've watched this far, we'd love a like. It'll be a massive help building the channel. Tomorrow, we're heading to Disney Springs before we begin exploring a place I have dreamt about since seeing it on the wonderful world of Disney when I was a little kid. So to come with us, just hit subscribe and the notification bell and we'll let you know when the next episode's ready.